How y'all doing? This Mo. Today I'm talking about faith and forgiveness. Faith and forgiveness, is something hard and that we all need to work on. Faith definitely doesn't grow overnight, and forgiveness is something that's difficult for all of us. Not all of us none of us are perfect, so it's hard for us to forgive others who hurt us. But we gotta realize the Lord forgives us when we hurt Him. Even, we hurt Him a lot, but we still, He still forgive us. Matthew chapter 6 verse 14 talks about, for if you forgive other people who have sinned against you, your Heavenly Father will also forgive you. And that's something important, we need to realize that, basically the Lord telling us, we need to forgive. We can't go around never forgiving anybody and expect ourselves to be forgiven. That's kind of like being a hypocrite. But today I want to talk about the story of Joseph. Joseph been through it all. He legitimately started from the bottom and made it to the top. His brothers, sold him into slavery because they was jealous of him. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. If you know your brother's jealous of you, don't ever tell them that you had a dream eventually of them. Basically you ruling over them and them bowing down to you. Stuff like that. I don't think you should really tell them that because, that's gonna make them hate you even more. But anyway, he was sold into slavery. He made it to Egypt. In the Pharaoh. And the Lord was with Joseph the whole time, even when Joseph went to jail, it could have been worse because, the Pharaoh's wife was basically saying, he was trying to, he threatened her and all this and that. And usually a slave, he probably been murdered, killed at that time. And so you got to know the Lord was with him. A higher power had to be with him for him not to be killed because what do you think, a master, he talking about, you try to touch my girl, what I'm saying? Most of the time they probably going to get killed. But, so I know the Lord was with him at that time. The Lord been with him at this whole time because, Joseph went from a slave, coming in. Well, I mean, he always, when he first came, he was entrusted with, the Pharaoh stuff in his household. But then he became basically the Pharaoh, just not with the title. He basically ruled everything in the land of Egypt. No one can come in without basically Joseph say so. So one day, Joseph's brother came in because there was a famine. So they needed food and stuff, and they didn't notice it was him, but he noticed it was them. So basically, he was like, "Oh, y'all spies, and all this stuff." Basically, asking about their family and stuff. So basically, it was like, "Oh, I need to basically to prove yourself innocent of not having spies. I need to see your other brother because they left Benjamin at home because that was Jacob's favorite. Now basically because it was the only one he had with his wife still, he was there. But also I wanted to talk about, Joseph knew that the Lord had a plan for him, for he said when he do finally confess that it's him to his brothers, he say, Genesis chapter 45 verses 4 through 6. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." And then he finishes saying, "For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next five years there will be no plowing and reaping." Basically saying, I knew the Lord had this plan for me, so don't be angry because that was the Lord's plan. I had to go through this, I had to go through the bottom to make it here so I can save y'all. And that's what he did. He fed them. So imagine if the Lord never put Joseph through all this stuff. He would have never, his family, Jacob, his father, and all this stuff. Basically, they would have probably been dead off of starvation. So luckily, his brother was basically, like I said, he basically was a pharaoh without the title of the pharaoh. He ruled everything. So basically, he did to get that land. And he forgave, and that's a good thing. He forgave. He said, "Don't be angry with yourselves," because he knew the Lord was with him. And the point I got to make is, you need to be ready for everything that comes and hit you at your life. You never know. You might be sent to jail, but there's a reason you may be sent to jail. Maybe it's to help someone in the jail, or maybe it's to help yourself come closer to God in faith. Or maybe God got a plan for you. Maybe your brothers might sell you out. Don't be mad at your brother for selling you out. Maybe it was God who made him sell you out so that you can become this or that and do this or that. We always quick to get mad at others and not forgive them, but there could have been a reason why God put that person in our life and made them do that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, like he hurt me, so I'm gonna forgive him. I'm not saying like that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying, no, we need to try to become more like Joseph and just forgive and realize that the Lord had a bigger and better plan, for Joseph, and Joseph saved lives, like he said. The Lord sent me here ahead of you to save lives, and that's something good and important, and I think we should all meditate on that word right there. God sent me ahead of you to save lives. So just because you leave somebody or God leave somebody doesn't mean that you'll never meet up again. It just means the Lord had to send you ahead of them. And I'd like to tell you a story about a time where basically the God I knew was sending me signs and maybe to me to become like a speaker or like a leader, because we got these things at our church. It's like groups, and it's become like an intern, for the church, and basically to become a leader, maybe one day become a pastor and stuff. But I was like, maybe not everybody's supposed to be a leader or a pastor, because I didn't feel like I'd be good enough for it. And then I started reading this, and just a couple minutes ago, I realized maybe He did put me through all this and all that when I was going down that dark road and going through all that to become a preacher. And you're right, not everybody is meant to be, or not everybody's supposed to be, or not everybody has to be, but maybe I'm supposed to be and I have to be and all this. So don't miss your calling, and don't be like, well, and don't make no excuses for it, because that's you. Even if you're a football player and you got athletic dreams, and you maybe you have to give it up, but maybe you don't. Maybe the Lord be like, you doing this. Don't quit your dreams. Maybe this is what He needs you to do, so you can spread the word in ministry, because you're an important power and little kids look up to you. So that's what you need to do. Don't stop. These football players always, they want to do drugs. Saying all this stuff, but they don't want to be a role model. And when you become an athlete and you become a superstar and you're playing for professional sports, that's what you are. You're a role model to younger kids. And I looked up to many people that played sports, example Allen Iverson. I looked up to him. Michael Vick, I looked up to him. And I'm not saying that they bad people, but they made stupid mistakes, and that made me think, well, they do it, and then it's okay for me to do it. And I done did some things in my life that I'm not proud of, so I'm not going to judge them, because I wouldn't want nobody to judge me for everything that I did. But don't make the mistake, of when you going through something bad. Take Joseph word. And when you're going through something bad, or maybe He sends you from your family, but there's a reason why He sends you ahead of your family, and I don't want you to ever be like, oh, I miss my family. Why would He take me away from my family? There's a reason why He took you away. Maybe to save them, just like college, you're going after college. There may be a reason why you don't go, maybe a reason why you go. Maybe there's a reason why you go across the country, and then maybe there's a reason why you stay at home. There's a reason for your doings and your will, and it's not really about you, it's about Him. So just remember, Joseph, he did everything the Lord needed him to do. He never complained. Even though he could have, like, Lord, why would you sell me into slavery, or allow them to sell me into slavery? You're supposed to be with me. You're the God of my father Abraham and all this stuff. But the Lord stayed with him throughout the whole thing. So I never want y'all to feel like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. You can do that. You just got to be ready at all times. No excuses. Be ready at all times. Also, faith does create miracles, so keep that faith that you have, like Joseph, he had that faith that God, sent him ahead to do better, and he tells the brothers that. He said, like I said, he told them, He sent me ahead of y'all to save lives, and that faith brought him back with his family, even when he was sent to prison or jail, for basically being accused of touching his wife, or threatening the Pharaoh's wife and all that stuff. And he kept the Lord with him, and look what the Lord did. He made him basically the ruler of the whole land of Egypt, a whole nation. And maybe for you, maybe that's your calling. Maybe the Lord put you in jail or whatever you're going through to become a leader of a whole nation. You never know. You never know. Maybe me, maybe you, maybe your mama, maybe your brother. You never know. So don't ever give up on things, and just listen to God when He's speaking to you. Not every time you might not feel it, He might put signs in front of you. He might put something in your life that make you realize something. Like me, I was thinking about going to a college in another city. But I knew the Lord was speaking to me, because I started feeling like sick to my stomach. I think He was telling me, no, you got to stay here. Cause I found this great church, shout out to my church, ELC elevate life. I appreciate my pastor, Pastor Tim. He taught me a lot in my life, and he made me realize, basically you just gotta do the will. You gotta be focused. You don't always have to focus on yourself. Not be self-centered. And Joseph, he was far from a self-centered person, because he could have murdered his brothers. He had that kind of power to do so. And my church taught me, don't be self-centered. Always be generous and giving, and all this, etc. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I knew that I couldn't leave that church. There's not another church like it that, I feel like family at that church, and that's what I want y'all to do. Find your little nice church, no matter where you're at. You hear me? Shout out to my boy Chris. He just went to Kentucky. For football, man, you need to stay in them books and find your little church out there. So you can do better. That he can help you. And shout out to everybody who's on this road with me and on this path, trying to make themselves better. I'm trying to get to this level where I can become maybe a preacher one day, or a better speaker. I'm trying. So I know I didn't do the best on, the story of Joseph. I just basically skimmed it down some, because a lot of y'all know the story. Basically, I just wanted to basically say some of the parts of the story. Basically, that Genesis chapter 45 verses 4 through 6. Basically, allowing y'all to know that God got a plan for you, and He gonna send you ahead for a reason. You might, like I said, you might not always be with your family for a reason. And like right now, God, I'm away from my family. I've been away from my mom and my brother for like 2 weeks now, and I got really close to him. And then this is when I started doing these videos, and there's a reason maybe He sent me away, so I can start focusing on Him. I start worrying about what other people are saying and hearing this and that. Oh, you ready to go to college, boy? You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna get my education, but I'm just gonna stay where I belong, because I know the Lord looking after me, and this is what He needs me to do. So I hope that y'all get at least something out of this message. I hope that y'all appreciated it. God bless y'all, and I hope that y'all do good.